Hi, and welcome back to another episode of The Breakdown with Bethany. I'm Bethany Braun Silva, and today my guest is Olympic gold medalist, advocate, and mom, Allyson Felix. Allyson has been a championship for moms for many, many years, and I'm such an admirer of her work both on and off the track. I'm sitting down with her today to talk about her new partnership with Danimals, all her healthy habits, how she's keeping up with her advocacy now that she's no longer competing, and her Mother's Day plans. Turns out we have a very similar take on Mother's Day. So check it out. I'm so excited to talk to you. And of course, I'll give you the floor for primarily the length of this conversation, but I have to just preempt it by saying I've been a parenting journalist for a long time, and the work that you've done to advocate for mothers, for women, it's been so pivotal, and just like it. I guess I just want to say it hasn't gone unnoticed, even as it sort of trickled down in like parenting journalism. You are one of our biggest like heroes and advocates, and I just admire you so much. So with
Much to me. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
okay, well, and with that said, you've done so much. You've accomplished so much on the track, off the track, and I was just curious, how would you describe this chapter in your life right now?
This chapter right now has been a lot of transition and change, just moving away from competition and doing, different work, getting to run, my two companies and just being present at home. I think like my age gap between my kids has really allowed for just enough time to forget everything, forget the sleep deprivation and all of that. But it's been a joy just to watch the kids grow.
I love that. Your son just had a big birthday. I saw one.
Yes, he turned one, and I just can't even believe that, that has already happened.
Yeah, I mean, time absolutely flies. But also, you have this really incredible partnership with Danimals, and I'm wondering, of course, like I'm a mom as well, and it's a brand that I'm very familiar with. But I would love to know why this was such a good fit for you.
Yeah, it's such an authentic partnership. It's all about being a snack hero and coming through for parents in a pinch. Every day when I pick up my daughter from school, her first question is like, "Do you have a snack for me?" And so I love to, pull out a smoothie, give it to her, and know that it's packed with calcium, with vitamin D, and feel really great that I'm giving her something nutritious. And that's really what this program has been all about. And I got to surprise a local track team here, the LA Jets. I'm an Angelino, and so it's a really prominent track club here. And got to show up and be that snack hero along with their parents. We went to one of their training sessions and got to hand out these great nutritious snacks afterwards. And it was just a lot of fun. And so Danimals has an Instacart offer that starts on May 1st. And it's really great because the parents get to be that snack hero. They can order a delivery and get it in as fast as 30 minutes and also get $15 worth of snacks on Danimals. So just something really great for them to be able to show up as that snack hero themselves.
I love that. I mean, I'm always looking for savings, right? Especially now. I think it's really
Yeah,
important.
absolutely.
And I'm also wondering, you wear a lot of hats. Obviously you are, cream of the crop athlete. You have two businesses, like you said, and you're a mom of two. So I'm wondering, how do you approach balancing all of these roles without losing yourself in the process?
It's hard. I really look at it as like, how can I have everything come together in harmony, And some days I feel like I'm doing really well at work, and then I come home and it just feels like I'm failing there. And other days it's the reverse. And so I think it's just a reality that that's what happens, and that I don't have to do it alone. I have an amazing partner, I have an amazing support system, and for some reason I love when I can do it all, but I need to, say that I don't have to do it all. I have people who love and support me and who want to help in all those ways. And so I think it's really leaning into that.
Yeah, and then I mentioned kind of embarrassingly so how much I was an admirer of yours because of your advocacy and so as you sort of stepped away from competition and the Olympics, I know that you're still leaning into that advocacy. Can you talk a little bit about how that's transitioned or changed, as you move from sort of pro athlete into the business roles and all of that?
Yeah, I get to still champion that work. It was a huge win at the Paris Olympics to be able to introduce a nursery, to the Olympic Village, and that just really came from, the experience that I had coming back with my daughter, and then listening to other parents and seeing, really what they need for support. And then I think it's pushing that beyond sport and saying, how do we show up for women in general? I think childcare is a huge issue that needs to be looked at, and parental leave and all of these things, continuing to push and say we need to do better to support our families.
Yeah, and if you were to talk about maybe like broader changes, not only for mothers who are athletes, but women, is there something that you'd like to see sort of roll out over the next 5 years, let's say?
I mean, our parental leave, seeing that improve. You look at other countries and, what they offer and how you're able to, just heal after birth or just bond as a family. I think that's something that I love to see improve, along with just the childcare issues that we have, the absorbent costs and just the challenges that that presents as well.
Yeah. And, I know that you're also used to like immense pressure and performing under pressure. And you mentioned that, you have this age gap with your kids. And I'm wondering if there's anything that kind of surprised you, or really maybe when you feel like you're in the parenting, like in the thick of it, and when you might feel like you're about to crack under that pressure. Like, can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I think just how hard it is. I mean, I before I had children, I'd always heard, obviously it's hard to be a parent, but I think you don't truly understand what that means until you're going through it. And I think right now in my life, it looks like my son, I think he's everything they say about the second child. Like he's different. We're having, challenges like with sleep and just, when I have those moments where like you said, I'm feeling like I'm at that breaking point. I also remember how quickly all of this goes and how, quickly they're no longer a baby and they don't need you and you're not holding them. And when I'm having those moments, I just think, okay, this is a privilege. At some point, I'm going to wish that I still had this. And I think just reminding myself that, yes, the days are very long, but it goes very quickly, always, helps in those difficult times.
Yeah, I've been doing that thing where it's like, imagine you're 75 or 70 and you're like looking back on this moment. So that helps me to
Yeah,
reframe a little bit too in
I
the
love
thick of
that.
it. Yeah. And so I want to go back to the Danimals partnership just a little bit because when this was pitched to me, there was a mention about how this might tie into your broader mission of advocating for families and especially mothers. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I think about it a lot as just when I think about, taking care of my family and what that looks like. And especially coming from the athletic world, I know how important food is as fuel and what we put into our bodies. And I think we have to be more conscious and intentional about those decisions. And so it's something, yeah, that I'm always thinking about, and what really made this partnership, very authentic and wanting to support and empower, parents, even if it feels like in a small practical way. I think that allows us to be able to show up more as ourselves and do, the work that we love. And I think it all goes hand in hand.
Yeah. And now looking ahead a little bit, I know it's about 3 years away, but the 2028 Olympics will be right in your backyard, your hometown. Can you share with us? I know, again, it's 3 years away, so it might be a little early to talk about how you might be involved or anything like that. But is there anything in particular you're looking forward to about that?
Yeah, I worked on the bid to bring the games to LA, so I'm so excited. I sit on the LA 28 board and I'm an IOC member, so I'm really coming from a different angle now, but I hope to be able to show up, in the space and be able to, have a real presence at the games. And also, I think I'm most excited to bring my family to the games. There's nothing like seeing an Olympic Games up close. And so whether it's, taking my daughter to gymnastics or, watching swimming, I think it's going to be so cool for so many Americans to have this access, and to make it a true family affair.
I love that. I'm actually really looking forward to the Wood Halls. I don't know if
Oh, yes.
they were
They're
so
a lot of
amazing.
fun.
I mean,
Yeah.
how cute are they? I love them. I can't wait to see them. I follow them. I think they're adorable. But
Yeah.
going back to, your healthy eating habits, it can be hard with kids. I have two boys. They go through phases of pickiness, right? So do you have tips for moms or parents really to kind of help navigate through those, ebbs and flows of what your kid will eat or not eat at any given moment?
Oh my gosh, I go through that so much. My daughter loves something one day and then isn't about it the next day. And so, whether it's, getting creative, my daughter, she doesn't really care for milk or cheese or any of those things. So I love that, Danimals can support me in that way. Sometimes I'm into like hiding, some of the veggies, whether it's like, blending them in a spaghetti sauce or, throwing a bunch of stuff, packing a bunch of nutrients into a smoothie. I try to get creative with it, but then I also like to incorporate my daughter into the process of choosing what vegetable she wants on whatever day, if we're going to meal prep. And I think by giving her a little input to it, it makes her, ready, I guess, for what's to come and to enjoy it a little bit more. So that's one thing that has worked for us as well.
I love that. And final question, Mother's Day is coming up. Transparently for me, it's not always like the blissful, lovely day that we kind of imagine in our heads, considering that there's all that mental load of motherhood and trying to like, kind of hand it off and expectations might be high. Maybe I'm putting a really negative spin on it if you but talk to me about your Mother's Day plans. What do you are you looking forward to being surprised? Like what does an ideal Mother's Day look like for you?
I agree with you. It can be, there's still a lot going on Mother's Day, and it's not really like a day off, if there ever is one. But I enjoy just time with the family, and so that always is like special. And then my daughter, she's really into like making cards and like, making cute things. So I'm sure she'll want to hand create something. But I more so enjoy, when my husband really just like takes notice and is like, go take a nap. To me, those are the gifts that I love. Like, go lay down, go get a massage, go do something for yourself, and just the appreciation for for all that I do, and just showing up in random moments instead of just on one day.
I love it. I'm wishing you a blissful nap on Mother's Day. Thank you so much for the time. I really, really appreciate it.
Of course, thanks for having me, and happy Mother's Day to you too.